Victor. I'm here with a new unboxing, and this time I'm going to share with you the Direchasm Warhammer Underworlds. Okay, so this is the season 4 of Warhammer Underworlds. I already opened, make a look, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through it together with you. I did not have time to read everything, so but I dedicated some time to make a first look. So what this case, in this box I will also have, just let me show you, I will also have the counter set, okay, that can be used together with the Direchasm, so the Warhammer Underworlds counter set. So this is the other thing that I have here inside. So let's start with that, with the book. So this is the Direchasm rule book. It's a soft cover, and it has all the rules that you need to play. And sorry if there is some glare. Okay, so you will have, well, there is some background at the beginning of the book. So you can see that it's all full color. Let me maybe move the box here, and I will keep sharing like that. It's going to be easier. So full color, and with a lot of the illustrations. Of course, they use the cards that comes here in the starter set to explain, and then you have all the explanation, all the rules. So it's not, I need to look at how many is this, too many, a lot of changes, but so far what I have seen, there is not big changes on the rule set, apart of the prime, how it's called, we will see it later, a special token that give additional points. We also have the hunger tokens, but I think here there is new mechanics on the cards, but I don't see here reaction to reaction, reaction opportunity. So this is a more explanation what we see. I need to check, so they explain again. So, but it looks very similar to what we were used to play in Warhammer Underworlds Beastgrave. Okay, so I need to look, as I said, I need to look in more detail. I like a lot the glossary with the definition of all the main subjects. So, for example, what is the guard action, and what happens when you have a guard token is indicating that this fighter is on guard, and then they cannot be scared. So here you can see all the different rules and how they are used, and then we have here the drawing of the boars. Okay, at the end, the reference diagram that is super useful to understand what happens in a combat. Okay, with the results. Then we have here this one. If you have not played previous seasons, this is a very recommended follow-up, and also this is the assembly rules for this, and you have very fast explanation on how to do a fast game. Okay, so very top line, and then we have here the drawing of the weapons. So these are the pictures of the two warbands that are coming here. So the elves and the Slaanesh followers. Then we have two boards, and both boards are double-sided. So this is one of the boards. This is without any blocking line of sight or dangerous terrain, or how it's called, I don't know. And here we have this one that have this thing that is blocking, so it's the one with more elements. Okay. And then we have the other board. This board is very curious because you have these two spots very separated, these two together. So yeah, it's quite curious with only this terrain that is this dangerous terrain. This board is quite interesting as well. Okay, we have these three very close to it. You can make quite interesting. All are quite in the edge, so if you from this side you have two in the edge, from this side you will not have too many on the edge. This one, if the enemies try to use the long edges to keep you away, so it's not that easy. And then we have this one. So it's always important to understand the boards and especially if you go first or second, which boards are more interesting for you to be used. Okay, so these are the boards. Put them here. Then we have the tokens. Okay, these are the tokens that come with the starter set. Okay, we have the glory points, we have the turn or the activation tokens, the wounds, the objectives, movement, guard, and on the other side the guard and the movement have also the charge. Okay, you have all the tokens up to number 8, I think, 9, sorry. And then we have the primordial token and the 2 dangerous terrains that you can add as in the starter set. And you can see there is enough glory points for a lot. We have the 2 warbands, this bone color for the elves. Okay, I will assemble them and I will show you later on in more detail. They are push fit warbands, so in principle you don't need glue, although a lot of time I recommend to use glue to do them. The bases have all these rocks, and and they are highly detailed. You can see the banner have the engrave, so you have here how to paint the banner. You have the big bows that are from the lumineth, so very detailed miniatures. Okay, these are the Slaanesh. So I will do tutorials in the future on these ones. Okay, as I used to do, I like to do, and I will paint them most likely, if not in Jan, in Feb. But I want to have one of the new warbands ready for Battlefield. These are the tokens from the expansion, okay, from the counter set or the counters, okay. And what we have here, these are the tokens. So you have here a description of the tokens, what are each of them, okay. So these are tight tokens. These are Aether Quartz tokens that are used on the elves. Okay, so these are the Amber tokens. These are the Hunger tokens. And then we have the Sequestration. And there is one here, this one, that is called the Shoal. That I don't know, I think it's maybe linked to one of the cars. So the Hunger tokens are linked to some of the car mechanics. And now I'm going to show you, of course, we have the dices as well. Okay. Then if we go to the decks, we have one deck that is only cards for the lumineth. And this one I was a little bit scared because there was all this damage, but the cards were not damaged at all. So it's good that they put this card as a protection. So let me zoom in. Okay, so you have here the cards. This is the warband of the elves or the lumineth. Are all 3 wounds. It's very similar to the Sylvaneth. In terms of, no, I mean on all of them have 3 wounds. They have a very high defense, all of them. Okay, and especially when they got inspired. The mechanics to be inspired is that they have to roll all successes when they do a roll of defense, attack, or casting. In that case, only for the, of course, for the mage. And all of them have a reaction that you can remove the Aether Quartz to be able to do a roll. So the Aether Quartz can be used for this or can be used for other plot cards that you are going to share later on. So the boss, this is the boss, is a mage of level 2. Okay, and when he gets inspired, he's improving his attack, and he's improving, and that's all. Yeah, he's improving his attack here. Yes, it's mainly that. Okay, so it's not a big change. This is the bowman. Okay, he's a hunter, and again when he do a critical hit, that's +1 with the damage. Okay, with any attack action, and they require that up to 3 inches he has cleave. that is quite interesting. Also very interesting to see that he has range 4, and when he got inspired he reached range 5. Okay, the damage is the same as 1 and plus 1 damage with a critical, and he is improving the defense with the second dodge. Then we have this guy. This is the close combat guy. It's quite strong with 2 damage. When he got inspired, has 3 damage. But what is quite strong is that he starts with 2 defense on shield, and he cannot be driving back. Okay. This fighter cannot be driving back if he has no move or charge token. Okay, if he's remaining stationary, he cannot be drive back. When he's inspired, is winning plus 1 to damage. Okay, and I think that's all. And is the slowest guy in the group. Okay, and then the reaction is the same. He can remove either part to repeat. And when no, and that's all. No, have not additional rules. And then is the other close combat guy. When he's inspired, he's winning more ability with the sword, and is increasing the defense to 2 shields. So this is the one that is improving more when he's inspired. He can reroll any defense roll when it's range 3. So in the representative, he's very good at dodging or avoiding arrows from the distance. And when he's inspired, he has cliff. So this is the one that it's changing the most when he's inspired, and this is the card that got a little bit damage as well. But at least it's not that critical. Then we have here all the cards that are faction link. Okay, so and we can see that all of these cards will be a combination of combat and control. Okay, so the guy with the hammer is the most dedicated to control. This is quite choose a friendly fight. So this guy you can give a guard token, and then he has even an object to convert to that he cannot be. He's immune to snare and to cliff. Okay, I think there was a card for him. So this is a lot of cards. Let me just show some of the objectives. So this again, this is to be inspired. If you warband, it's also second spell. So this is a combination of control, damage, and doing actions. It's called this immediately after a friendly fighter that deals damage equal or greater to the target wounds. This is not easy because you don't have damage 3. It's not that high. Score this another phase if there are more surviving friendly fighters than surviving enemy fighters. Score this immediately after an activation if each surviving friendly fighter has 1 or more guard tokens. But you have mechanics to give guard tokens. Score this immediately after an activation if your warband holds 3 or more objectives. You see this is a 1 objective. Also if not surviving friendly fighters have Aether Quartz counters. So also if you use the Aether Quartz. Score in the phase if your leader holds an objective. Again, score this another phase if 1 or more surviving friendly fighters each have 3 or more grades. So you can see there is a combination of a lot of different things that you can do with this warband. Score this another phase if your warband holds 3 or more objectives. Again, another one to hold objectives. So you can see there is 3 dedicated to hold objective. And then there are some to kill, like this one, right, with a range 3 weapon and so on. So it's a combination, and then here you have some. There are some interesting cards. I think that this warband looks quite interesting. You have to be careful. They only have 3 wounds. Okay, so but they have a very good defense. So this is for the warband of the elves. Then we have the Slaanesh one. Okay, if we look at the Slaanesh one, the warriors are quite different from each other. All of them have quite a nice movement, and I think when they got inspired, all of them are winning +1 to move. So they start with 4 and they will move 5. Okay, this warband gets inspired when there is 6 or more wounds on surviving fighters. So it's quite difficult. It's going to be quite a challenge to have this warband inspired. because you have to deal scatter wounds on your enemies, because if you kill the enemies they don't count anymore for the wounds. Okay, and I'm seeing one thing that I'm curious. Yeah, this okay. Yeah, and then as a reaction, this guy can deal or heal 1 damage to himself. This guy is always on guard. This is quite curious. So this guy always has 2 shields, right? Because he's always on guard. So he counts all shields and dodge as successes. So though only have 2 wounds, she's going to be quite difficult to hit. Okay, because she's always considered to be in guard. And all of them have damage 2, I think, except this one have damage 1. Okay, 3 of them have damage 2. The boss, when is inspired, is moving to damage 3 and cleave, but is quite dangerous. Okay, this lady is very fragile with only 2 wounds, but as I said, with the always in guard is quite interesting. This guy is the strongest one with 5 wounds, and the role is that he can deal or deal 1 damage or heal 1 damage to this fighter. Okay, pick one, deal 1 damage. Okay, so you can what is quite, and then yeah, when he's inspired, is being more precise with attack and have +1 movement. And this guy is a shooting guy. This is why you only have 1 damage, and he can pull instead of push. Okay, only 2 wounds with 1 dodge and 2 dodges when he's inspired. So this guy wants to avoid the close combat for sure. Again, this warband is more, what I have seen is a little bit more, it's also a warband that you can play a flex deck, I think. With 4 guys you can have a little bit of control. Of course you cannot control of all of the tokens, all of the objectives, but yeah, well, they will have, for example, this is quite a crazy one. So score this end of the phase if there are 3 or more surviving friendly fighters and 3 or more enemy fighters are out of action. So you can take this one depending against, this can be very situational, but this can be a quite interesting one. So I don't know, have 1 crazy card sometimes, it can be fun. This is scored this in the end of the phase if there are 3 or more surviving friendly fighters and each surviving friendly fighter is inspired. This is going to be quite difficult from my point of view. Score this immediately after an activation if each surviving friendly fighter has 1 or more move and charge tokens. This is quite easy. Score this end of the phase if your warband holds more objective than any other warband. This can be also quite interesting. So you can see it's also flex deck. This will be a combination of fighting and controlling. Score this immediately after an activation if 2 or more friendly fighters are adjacent to the same enemy fighter. So you have 2 to 1, and then this is the other one if there is 1 or more that are against 2. Okay, so this is the opposite. This one is a hybrid. Score this end of the phase if there are no enemy fighters with any move of charge tokens, or your warband holds 2 or more objectives. Also, this can be quite easy to do. Another hybrid, your leader holds objective in enemy territory, or enemy leader hold an objective in your territory. Quite interesting, this one. Sometimes can be very situational, but again you can surprise some enemies. This is Surge, so it's immediate. Score this immediately after a friendly attack action. If the attack action takes an enemy fighter with 2 or more grades out of action, or that friendly fighter has 3 or more grades. This is also quite interesting, and it's more for turn 2 or 3, but can be quite easy to score. Hey, these are the type of objective that you don't realize, but you cannot score this normally in turn 1. in round 1, so you have to wait normally round 2 or 3, and you have to prepare for that. So this is not as easy as it seems, because you have to wait at the end of the battle most likely. Score this end phase. If each surviving friendly fighter is in enemy territory, this can be quite tricky. Okay, but you can see that is a mixture of control and combat. Okay, so then we have as well the cards dedicated to the warbands. I will not go through all of them, but you can see all of have these nice illustrations, and you can see them fighting different enemies. Okay, so yeah, we have, for example, this after another activation move action, this push fail. So these are quite curious. So all of these reactions, some of these reactions that you will see, can have two effects. Okay, so you can push a friendly clash up to 2 axes. After push, that clash must be no. This is one. Yeah, so you have to push it away from one of your guys. But this is why choose a fighter holding objective, deal 1 damage. This is quite good. Okay, choose enemy fighter. The choose fighter must so the enemy have to pick if a move token or a push this 1x. Play this during an enemy fighter range 2. Yeah, these are different. -1 damage from attack action made with index activation. Okay. One friendly fighter, pick one, so you can heal or you can deal. This is the same ability, so you can heal or deal 1 damage to one of your guys. So if this is melee to help you to get inspired. Choose one fighter, push the fighter 1x or up to 1x for each surviving friendly fighter with 1 or more wound counters. Okay, so you have 2 options. Right sensation, reaction, play this after a friendly fighter attack action that takes an enemy fighter out of action. That friendly fighter makes 1 move action, so also quite good. Okay, so there are quite some interesting cards here. Okay, so and some are dedicated to some of them. So okay, so when this fighter is dealt damage, roll 1 defense dice. This is very typical on a shield. This fighter is dealt only 1 damage, so they are quite that are +1 damage to this fighter range 1 or 2. Attack actions, if this fighter has 1 or more wound counters, you see that they want to be wounded and so on. So this is the warband for the Slaanesh, and then we have the generic cards. Okay, and here is where they explain the rules for primacy token and how it works. Okay, so this is a new primacy token. You win this. There's cards that can give it to you. Okay, depending on the action, or you can win this in which a friendly fighter attack action target a fighter with no wounds, counters, and took the fighter out of action. In which a friendly fighter attack action takes the leader if you kill the leader, or you hold 4 or more objectives. That can be difficult with some. So it's not easy to gain the primacy. If a player has a primacy token at the end of the round, gain 1 spend glory point. So remember, you win this glory point that you are going to win is just for scoring. And then discard the primacy token. And there only can be 1 primacy token. The other thing is you cannot include this card in your decks. If you include 1 or more cards in your decks that mention the primacy token, you must show this card to your opponent in the reveal. Your warband's step and use these rules in the game. There is only 1, okay? You can see, okay? So if you have 1 card that gives you a primacy token, you have to tell your opponent when you take the card. And there are some that give you a primacy token. I want to see. Okay, so you can see, and then here we have the new hunger counters. Okay, so you give +1 move to the friendly fighter. So okay, this gives +1 move, plus 2 if you have a hunger counter. This gives plus 1 damage. In addition, the attack action has cliff if that friendly fighter has 1 or more hunger tokens. Okay, and then we have to see how you give hunger tokens to the guys, but there will be some cards here that we give it to you, to the guys. Choose a friendly fighter, roll 1 magic dice, and this is and then you heal, right? For each, so roll 1 magic dice for each of the chosen fighter wound counters, and on additional magic dice if this fighter has 1 or more hunger counters. So, and then for each lightning you heal one wound. Choose 1 friendly fighter, push a fighter 1x towards the closest enemies, then give the chosen fighter. You see, this gives a hunger token. Okay, you push and you give a hunger token. Give the caster each fighter in the chain 1 hunger counter. Okay, so if it's cast, it scatters 3, deal 1 damage to each enemy fighter in the chain, then give the caster and each fighter in the chain 1 hunger counter. So you give it to you and to your opponent. Each fighter is a hunter and a quarry. Okay, so you can see there is, I think there were more. So there is to heal. If this fighter is a quarry, if this fighter is quarry, backlash and gambit spells cannot deal damage to this fighter. Okay, so this fighter is a quarry, and while you are a quarry, you cannot have backlash, so you are immune to some fearsome trapping. So you can see there is, this fighter is a quarry. If this fighter is a quarry, have +1 defense, -1 fighter's attack action. So you are more defensive. All depends on how you want to play some of these cards. So there are more, I find them quite balanced. This fighter is a hunter, +2 move, -1 defense. This fighter is a hunter, +1 damage, -1 defense. Okay. This is curious. So there, you can see they have tweaked the all strength, +1 strength and +1 speed that we have previously. You can reroll 1 dice, so you have here this, some weapons. Then we have here some objectives. Okay, some. They are all, I think they are most of them new. So absolute dominance. Score this at the end of the phase if there are 2 or more surviving friendly fighters and no more than 1 surviving enemy fighters. So the enemy can only. This can be quite interesting. Okay, so you can see. Score this at the end of the phase if your warband holds more objective than any other warband. Score this end of the phase if 1 or more friendly fighters each have 2 or more hunger tokens. So if you give hunger tokens, so you can see, score this immediately after your warband spell. So spell action deals damage that takes an enemy fighter out of action. Score this immediately after your leader attack action that takes an enemy fighter out of action. This can, yeah. Score this immediately if after friendly hunter's attack action that takes an enemy quarry out of action. So this is interesting when you convert everyone into quarry and hunter. Okay, so score this immediately after you gain a primacy token or a friendly fighter successful attack action with damage. This is quite easy as well. So there are some that are quite. Score this end to phase if your warband holds 2 or more objectives in enemy territory. This is quite complicated, but 3 points is not bad. But you can work for this because you can put the tokens at the border of the enemy territory, right? Score this immediately after. So this, I like this one because this for aggressive warbands. This can be very interesting. so you can put your objective on the enemy territory next to your territory. So when you attack, you planify attacking by taking the objectives. Score this immediately after a friendly fighter with range 3 attack action takes an enemy fighter out of action, or a friendly fighter ends a charge action 6 or more X's from the X in which he started. So, okay, so we have here all the cards. We have the new rule, okay, the primacy token, and we have the 2 new warbands. So, look interesting. Now I'm going to assemble the miniatures, and I will finalize by showing you the assembled miniatures. So, yeah, I come back with assembled miniatures. Okay, I have assembled the miniatures, and this is how it looks like. So this is the slangor. Okay, it's quite big one. So let me just show. So this is a blue ball human, so you can see the difference. So it's quite big, with the base of, I think it's a 40, or I think it's a, or yeah, it's a 40 thing. Okay, so you can see quite detailed, nice. This is why this guy have 5 wounds. So I like a lot who looks like. Then we have the leader, also quite a tall guy. Okay, again compared to a human, so he's quite tall, and you can see that there's a lot of caves and layers. So this is, I did not push it to the end into the base because maybe I will need to remove it from the base to be able to paint it better. The shield, very nicely detailed, you can see there. Okay, really, and I like a lot the helmet. Okay, then we have the 2 other warriors of the warband. These are more human size. Okay, again, put the blue ball guy next to them, so this is the same size. Okay, so this is the archer, with the arrow in position, and nice clothing. Okay, you can see a lot of detail on the here, and this is a lot of detail. Not easy to see on this color of the plastic, but I think under the light of the table you can see, and this is, I like it a lot, the pose. It's looking so confident, very Persian looking like clothes, right? They look very Persian, these guys. Then we have the elves. So they are quite, they remind me a little bit the Chinese type of rocks with the bonsai and so on. All of them have a bonsai. The base is the leader, that is also sorcerer or mage. Again, a lot of details. I like these stones on the base, and all of them, they are going to be on top of a rock, showing their agility. Okay, this is the bull guy is more static, but again, as well, on top of this rock, again, caves. They have a lot of pieces. These guys are quite complex in terms of number of pieces. They have some quite curious things. For example, this hammer is attached to the base and then goes to the hands. But yeah, quite a nice detail. And again, and here I don't know if I will need to pull them out of the base or not at the end to be able to paint them. The swordman. Okay, you can see it looks very. This design is very Chinese inspired, right? With this type of banner at the back. Okay, I like a lot the pose of this guy. Okay, then we have again the bonsai. And finally we have the archer in this position, showing how the agility he has. Again, a lot of pieces. All of these guys are 5 or 6 pieces at least, and the base is more complex. Everything is more. They are quite well designed miniatures. Okay, you can like more or less, but in terms of design and details, they are very good. And the pieces goes together quite nicely, and I have not used any type of glue. Okay, so you can assemble them without glue and they fit quite nicely. Okay, you can see here the big guys, then let's put one of the elf next to them. Okay, so this is the size. Okay, the elf is in the top of a rock, so you can imagine that it's much shorter than these two guys. So this is all what I want to share. So this is the unboxing of the Warhammer Underworld Direchasm. I hope you have enjoyed this one. Please give a like if you have liked this video. Let me know what do you think about this box. And as usual, thanks a lot for watching and see you again later. Bye.